Welcome back to Film Recall. With school starting back up, here are what I think are the 10 best high school movies. The only rule to this list is only one John Hughes movie is allowed. Okay, fine, 2 are allowed, but no more than that, otherwise his movies are going to take up the entire list. So let's get started at number 10 with Superbad.
I am McLovin.
Superbad starts off like your typical high school comedy. 3 guys try to stage a party so that they can get with their high school crushes. But it spirals into an adventure about getting to the party in the first place. And ultimately, it's not even about the girls. It's about their friendship and how they're afraid that by growing up, they won't be close friends anymore.
I just want to go to the rooftops and scream, I love my best friend Evan. Boop.
This movie has more jokes per minute than most comedies do, and it takes several viewings just to catch them all. But beneath all the humor, Superbad, surprisingly, has a lot of heart to it, and captures a lot of universal feelings about senior year. Number 9 is 10 Things I Hate About You. This is an updated version of Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew, and tells a complicated dating story. Cameron wants to date Bianca, who isn't allowed to date unless her older sister Kat starts dating. So now Cameron has to convince the school bad boy Patrick to date Bianca's older sister. The witty dialogue is rapid fire, and the actors make these lines feel natural, even though nobody talked like this at my high school. But that's what the movies are all about, and this awesome cast pulls it all together. It also shows just how much range the late Heath Ledger had. Before he was the Joker, he was dancing on the bleachers and being the coolest guy in high school. Number 8 is Grease.
You ain't gonna see me for Dasuko.
Grease to this day is still the highest grossing film musical. Sandy, the good girl of the school, falls in love with Danny, a greaser, played by John Travolta. This is the role that made him a star, and nobody could have played it better. But the real reason you watch Grease is for its killer songs. There's not a single song I would skip over on the soundtrack, and I can't say that about most musicals. In Grease, every song hits. There's an effortless attitude to the movie and has a fun 1950s atmosphere. It has it all: great dancing, fist fights, and car races. But despite its infectious upbeat charisma, a lot of serious high school themes are brought up, making it a well-rounded movie. Grease is the real high school musical. Number 7 is Dead Poets Society.
Language was developed for one endeavor, and that is
To communicate.
no, to woo women. Mr. Keating.
From the memorable lessons of Mr. Keating to the iconic moment where the students fully embrace his teachings,
Captain, my captain.
Sit down, Mr. Anderson.
Dead Poets Society is an emotional journey about discovering what you're passionate about and being an individual, which basically goes against everything this elite prep school stands for. The late Robin Williams gives one of his best performances across his incredible career and shows just how well he was able to balance humor and drama. Like the movie's iconic ending, Dead Poets Society is a triumph. Number 6 is Heathers.
Does it not bother you that everybody in this school thinks that you're a piranha?
Heathers is about a group of mean girls, all named Heather, who control the school. Veronica, played by Winona Ryder, is new to the school and begins hanging with Christian Slater's character, who gets the idea that they should murder the mean girls. Not with words. He wants to actually murder them.
I don't really like my friends.
I don't really like your friends either.
This movie became a big influence on future high school movies with its quick and clever dialogue, even inspiring Mean Girls. Only, Heathers takes that burn book from Mean Girls and stabs a knife into it. It's a very dark comedy with a strong satirical view of high school cliques. It's equal parts funny and shocking, and takes high school revenge very literal. Number 5 is Say Anything.
It's just you're a really nice guy and we don't want to see you get hurt.
I'm gonna call her.
It's your typical story of 2 teens on opposite sides of the tracks who fall in love despite what others think of them. But Say Anything goes above and beyond the typical teen romance by making the relationship believable and relatable. It also makes the hurdle of never coming across as cheesy, even during moments where it very easily could have. Chances are high that even if you haven't seen Say Anything, you've at least seen the moment where Lloyd holds a boombox over his head. The actors believe these moments, and because of that, so does the audience.
Bueller.
Bueller.
Number 4 is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ferris Bueller convinces his best friend and girlfriend to skip school for the day and go wherever life takes them.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
This is one of those movies that really shouldn't work, but it does. I mean, there's barely any plot, and the main character is honestly not that good of a guy. He spends the whole movie ruining everyone's lives, including his best friends. But the movie has such an infectious joy about it that you just can't help but go along with it. It's a classic and one of the biggest feel-good movies out there. This is the role that Matthew Broderick was born to play, and nobody plays hooky like Ferris Bueller. Number 3 is Dazed and Confused.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
This is possibly the greatest hangout movie there is. One of the coolest things about this movie is how it makes you feel like you're buddies with these people. You feel like you're hanging out with them. And this movie covers just about every facet of the high school experience. From the freshmen to the seniors, everyone is covered. It honestly feels like an epic. There are so many major characters and stories to follow, and it's a big accomplishment that the director and cast were able to make every single character stand out and be memorable. And I mean, come on, Matthew McConaughey crushes his role.
Alright.
It's a movie with almost no traditional story, but the lack of story works to this movie's favor, and it never feels like it isn't building towards something great. Number 2 is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is able to separate itself from other high school movies because it feels pretty authentic in its storytelling and the way it was filmed. While writing the movie, Cameron Crowe went undercover as a high school student and wrote about all of his experiences. Like Ferris Bueller, this movie ditches a plot and is more about the individual moments of these high schoolers and the messes they get themselves into. The cast comes across as genuine and have great chemistry to the point where it seems like a documentary about high school life. The standout, of course, is definitely Sean Penn as Spicoli. Fast Times at Ridgemont High defined a generation and is one of the most iconic high school movies ever.
Awesome! Totally awesome!
And the number 1 high school movie is The Breakfast Club.
Any questions?
Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
5 people from different high school cliques are forced to talk to each other as they sit through detention and find out maybe we have more in common than we thought. Some moments are dated, but at the time this story was pretty enlightening and had a big impact on high schoolers everywhere. It tugs at the heartstrings all while making you laugh, and starred the biggest actors of the 80s Brat Pack. The Breakfast Club truly is one of the greats and has permanently stamped itself into pop culture. This movie has been spoofed more times than any other movie on this list, and when a movie gets spoofed as much as The Breakfast Club has, then it must be the best high school movie of all time.
Don't you forget about me. Don't you.
But now I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments if your favorites made this list, and if they didn't, tell me what your favorite high school movies of all time are. Thanks for watching, and if you're not subscribed to Film Recall, you can hit that subscribe button down below for new movie reactions, movie lists, and movie reviews every week.